Hey there, it's Kate, and it's Friday. And don't you love Friday? Because here comes the weekend. Yay! I love the weekend. I get to have downtime and all sorts of things like that. And I get to um, go and just play with my hubby, which I really enjoy. So today, I want to talk about what God says about finding truth over what we think. The Bible's been around for a long time, and whether you believe or don't believe, the Word of God is intricate and is woven into the world and circumstances and everything that happens in many different ways. So it is a great place to go and look at supporting some of these thoughts that I have told you and these ways that I have told you over the last 4 days. So let's have a look. The first I can't remember them all off by heart. I'm going to tell you that for right up front. But the first one I want to talk about is Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. And this is one of my favorite verses. And it is a verse that I probably say at least once a day in my household. And that is, trust in the Lord with all of your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to him, and he will make your path straight. This verse encourages believers to trust in God rather than relying solely on their own wisdom. Now, you're going to ask me, how does that relate to my thoughts? Okay, we all have the Spirit, the truth inside of us. It is part of us. We are not just a soul. We have a spirit, we have a soul. We have flesh, we have a mind, but we do have spirit that lives within us. And this is pure truth. That is part of God, or a larger picture, if you would like to see it that way. But it means that the spirit in there is that little voice that comes and says, you don't want to say that. That doesn't sound so great. Don't do that. Don't. No, that's that little voice of conscience, because it is pure consciousness. It is not ever going to tell you an untruth, because that is spirit that is connected to God. So that's why we should not just rely on our own thoughts, which is our own supposed wisdom, but listen to that voice within that is going to give us a way better answer than the thoughts that run around our brain. Isaiah 58 or 55, 8, and 9 says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." Now, this passage I love. I love Isaiah, but this passage I love because it really does clarify. It is clarity. Our thoughts that run around our heads are not God's. Our ways are soulish. Our ways tend to be fleshy. Let's face it, we like to answer to the flesh. You want that cheesecake in the fridge and you want to eat it all? Well, it isn't God telling you to eat that. It's your flesh. It's your mind. It's your habit. It's whatever you have in your life. So therefore, his thoughts aren't our thoughts, and his ways aren't our ways. So be careful of what thoughts. This is why we have to examine and question our thoughts. This is why we have to reflect on what we're thinking. Proverbs 16:2 says, "All a person's ways seem pure to them, but motives are weighed by the Lord." It reminds us that we might think our actions are right, but God examines our heart and our motives. And that highlights the importance of seeking the Spirit or God and truth, pure consciousness. If we are seeking that, if we are listening to that, if we are reeling in those negative thoughts, those fear thoughts, because fear does not come from God. Ladies, fear does not come from God. Worry does not come from God. None of it does. So we need to examine and we need to listen. John 8:31-32 says, to the Jews who had believed him, Jesus said, if you hold to my teaching, you are really my disciples. And then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Oh my goodness, this verse really tells us and emphasizes what true freedom and the knowledge of the truth can do. And that is what we've been talking about, finding the truth in the circumstance. Are the thoughts that you are having around your circumstance, could you go to a court of law and put your hand on the Bible and swear on the Bible and say, yes, this is absolutely, and I have evidence to prove this? Because if we don't, that's just a figment of our brain. That's a product of our brain throwing thoughts that have been previously there at us that aren't truth. And we need to discover clarity and find the truth of the circumstance. James 1:5 says, if any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. Here, if you're a believer and I'm a believer, you're encouraged to seek God's wisdom through prayer and trust in his guidance. In other words, these verses from the Bible actually encourage us to rely on a higher wisdom and seek truth beyond our own understanding. I don't know about you, but there have been many times where I have wondered why a situation was happening, and then maybe even a couple of years later realized, oh my goodness, I went through that for now. We never can rely on our own understanding. We have to seek truth. We have to seek what is clear and true in every situation, because that is a path to freedom and also to growth, because the truth does set us free. When we discover the truth around things, we actually encourage growth, and then we begin to see all of the things that in reality may be coming to help us and not hinder us. We can also see the things that are not serving us anymore. We can see the ways that are destroying our joy and peace, and we can let them go. So I hope you've enjoyed this series this week, and I know I have, and I love to talk about these things because this does lead to a greater amount of joy and peace and clarity and truth in your life. So I want you to have an amazing weekend, because I'm going to. I'm actually thinking about I might skip out to Dollywood. I haven't decided on that one yet, but you have a great weekend, and I will see you next week. Bye for now.